Thank you so much, Speaker. I appreciate the opportunity to speak in support of extending Ontario's declaration of emergency. Over the past few weeks, Speaker, I've had a number of emails and calls from residents in Burlington about the state of emergency. Specifically, they have asked, 1, more about the state of emergency and the various emergency orders, 2, how long the state of emergency could last, and whether extending the state of emergency will delay reopening Ontario's economy. I'll start by answering these questions for those watching on TV or online. All 3 levels of government, federal, provincial, and municipal, have the ability to issue a state of emergency that enables them to take immediate, temporary, and extraordinary measures to ensure safety and security due to a major crisis. The various emergency orders issued are the extraordinary measures governments at all levels have put in place during COVID-19, Speaker. Currently, Ontario has 41 emergency orders in place, with 5 that have expired. If the motion to extend the declaration of emergency passes today, the government will be able to continue supporting Ontarians through the emergency orders issued to date, including the emergency order that prohibits unfair pricing, is known as price gouging, for necessary goods, the emergency order giving hospitals expanded measures to ensure that doctors and medical staff can rapidly deployed to potential COVID-19 hotspots, and the emergency order allowing for work deployment measures for services funded by the Ministry of Children, Community and Social Services under the Violence Against Women Support Services or the Anti-Human Trafficking Community Support Programs. This is why the motion before us today to extend the provincial emergency and its subsequent orders is so important, Speaker. People who have called and emailed my office in Burlington also wanted to know how long we'll be in a state of emergency. Under Ontario's Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act, the initial declaration of emergency on March 17th could only last for 14 days. It could then be renewed by Cabinet for another 2 weeks. After that, the state of emergency must be renewed in 28-day increments through a vote of the legislature. The legislature extended the state of emergency for 28 days on April 14th, for 21 days on May 12th, and for another 28 days on June 2nd. The motion we're considering today would extend the state of emergency for hopefully the last time. I want to be clear. By extending the state of emergency, Speaker, we are not, and I repeat, we are not delaying or slowing down the speed at which we're reopening Ontario's economy. In fact, by extending the state of emergency, we are following expert advice in our mission to stop the spread of COVID-19 while implementing Ontario's framework to reopen our economy. If you're a big sports fan, you'll likely imagine your dream team for various sports. In basketball last year, we had the ultimate dream team in the Raptors. If you're a Leafs fan, you have to go just a little bit further. I was 7 the last time the Leafs won the Stanley Cup. During the global pandemic, Ontario has assembled its own dream team in our fight against COVID-19. Our government's plan is formed with the advice and counsel of Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. David Williams, who we are so lucky to benefit from his years of experience. Minister Elliott is also fortunate to have the valuable guidance and strong advocacy for Ontario's hospitals from the President and CEO of the Ontario Hospital Association, Anthony Dale. Working together, Ontario has built unprecedented capacity in our hospitals at a pace we've never seen before, Speaker. Premier Ford, Deputy Prime Minister, and the COVID-19 command team, just to mention a few, Deputy Minister Richard Steele, Ministry of Long-Term Care, Matt Anderson, the President and CEO of Ontario Health, Dr. Kevin Smith, President and CEO of University Health Network. Those who know me well will say that one of my favourite lines is, Working alone, we make progress, but working together, we make history. Ontario's COVID Dream Team continues to provide the expert advice we rely on during these difficult times. COVID-19 has been a journey like no other. From coast to coast, Canada's provinces and territories have all declared either a state of emergency, a public health emergency, or both, Speaker. When I last spoke about extending the state of emergency on June 12th, I shared with you details of what's happening in other provinces and territories. As we discuss and debate the extension of Ontario's state of emergency, for hopefully the last time, I want to update you on what's happening right now to the provinces west of us. British Columbia's NDP government declared a provincial state of emergency on March 18th. BC's declaration can only last 2 weeks at a time, so their state of emergency has been extended 6 times. The most recent extension ends at the end of the day today, unless the government of BC extends it. As of yesterday, BC has reported 2,822 cases, including 169 deaths and 182 active cases. 2,471 people in BC have recovered from COVID-19. Alberta's Conservative government declared a 90-day state of public health emergency on March 17th. Alberta's provincial emergency plan ended on June 15th. Though emergency ministerial orders will remain in effect until August, Speaker. Last Thursday, the Government of Alberta introduced legislation to extend existing emergency health and labour rules tied to COVID-19. If the legislation passes, all existing orders will be extended, with sunset clauses that could be enforced until as late as the end of next year. As of yesterday, Alberta had reported 7,736 cases of COVID-19, including 153 deaths and 542 active cases. 7,041 people have recovered, Speaker. Saskatchewan's Conservative government declared a provincial state of emergency on March 18th. Their orders are good for 14 days, and so their state of emergency has also been extended 6 times. On June 11th, Premier Moe extended the state of emergency until June 24th. As of yesterday, Saskatchewan has reported 751 cases, including 13 deaths and 95 active cases. 643 people have recovered. Manitoba's Progressive Conservative government declared a provincial state of emergency on March 20th. They have extended their state of emergency 3 times, Speaker. On June 15th, it was extended until July 15th. As of yesterday, Manitoba had reported 314 cases, including 7 deaths, 14 active cases, and 293 people have recovered from COVID-19. Here in Ontario, based on the recommendations of the Chief Medical Officer of Health, Speaker, we took an important step to protect Ontarians by declaring a provincial emergency through the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act on March 17th. We led the country in being the first to declare a provincial state of emergency as a result of COVID-19. We also led the country in being the first to outline a plan to reopen our economy. In taking this action, we made it possible for the government to quickly implement and enforce time-limited orders that provide support for individuals and businesses, help keep our community safe, and assist our frontline workers as we gradually reopen the economy. The decision to declare a provincial emergency was not taken lightly. Over the past 14 weeks, the decisions we've made in this place together have allowed us to flatten the curve. As of yesterday, the total number of confirmed cases in Ontario stood at 33,637, with 2,609 deaths and 2,095 active cases, a 45.4% improvement from June 1st, when Ontario had 3,834 active cases. So far, 28,933 people have recovered from this disease. That's a 31% improvement over June 1st, when Ontario had reported 22,153 people have recovered from COVID-19. While these numbers are encouraging, Speaker, they also remind us that there is still more to do, that no matter how much we wish things could go back to normal, we are not quite there yet. That's why, once again, we are considering another extension of the state of emergency in these unprecedented times. Let's consider what's happening in the provinces to the east of us. Quebec CAQ government issued a health emergency order on March 13th and have extended this order 12 times. The island of Montreal also has its own state of emergency, which is in place until at least the end of day, June 23rd, unless they are extended. As of yesterday, Quebec has reported 54,835 cases, including 5,417 deaths and 25,912 active cases. 23,506 people have recovered, Speaker. New Brunswick Progressive Conservative government declared a state of emergency on March 19th and have extended this order 7 times. On June 19th, the emergency order was extended again. As of yesterday, New Brunswick had reported 164 cases, 2 deaths, and 27 active cases. 135 people have recovered from COVID-19. Nova Scotia's Liberal government declared a state of emergency on March 22nd and have also extended their order 6 times. Most recently on June 12th, the order was extended to June 28th. As of yesterday, Nova Scotia has reported 1,061 cases, 62 deaths, and 1 active case. 998 people have recovered. Prince Edward Island's Progressive Conservative government declared a public health emergency on March 16th and a province-wide state of emergency on April 16th. PEIs extended their provincial order 3 times. Most recently, on June 13th, the order was extended to June 28th. As of yesterday, PEIs reported 27 cases, no deaths, and no active cases. In Prince Edward Island, everyone that contracted COVID-19 has now recovered. That's recently wonderful news. Newfoundland and Labrador Liberal government declared a public health emergency on March 18th. Newfoundland's declaration can only last 14 days at a time, so their state of emergency has been extended 6 times, Speaker. On June 15, Premier Ball extended the order to June 30th. As of yesterday, Newfoundland and Labrador have reported 261 cases, 3 deaths, and no active cases, and 258 people have recovered from the disease. Nunavut's nonpartisan government declared a public health emergency on March 18th, and we extended it 6 times. Most recently on June 11th, the order was extended to June 25th. As of yesterday, since the start of COVID-19, Nunavut has had no reported cases, though 139 people are currently under investigation. The Northwest Territories nonpartisan government declared a state of emergency on March 24th. They have extended it 6 times, Speaker, included on June 9th, when the state of emergency was extended until the end of the day today, unless it's being extended. As of yesterday, the Northwest Territories had reported 5 cases, no deaths, and no active cases. All 5 people have fully recovered from COVID-19. Finally, the Yukon's Liberal government declared a 90-day state of emergency on March 27th. It was extended on June 12th until September 10th, unless it is ended earlier. As of yesterday, the Yukon had reported 11 confirmed cases, no deaths, and no active cases. Everyone in the Yukon Territory that contracted COVID-19 has recovered. It's wonderful news. Since Ontario declared a state of emergency on March 17th, this legislature has sat for 13 days, including today's sitting. and various committees have also met to consider bills and hear from hundreds of delegations. The Ontario Legislature remains open and accountable even during these unprecedented times. Our government, under the leadership of Premier Ford, recognizes that the opposition plays a constitutionally important role in holding government to account. Over the past weeks, this legislature has come together to pass a number of important pieces of legislation to support individuals, families, and businesses impacted by COVID-19. And Speaker, work is continuing in the city and town halls across this great province. As I mentioned earlier, a number of Ontario's 444 municipalities have declared their own state of emergencies, including Mississauga, Toronto, Oakville, Grimsby, Burlington, and the region municipalities of Halton and Niagara, to name a few. Speaking of Burlington, as a lifelong resident of Burlington, I'm always proud to talk about the great people and places in Canada. Best places to live in 2019, Burlington, according to Maclean's magazine. This, of course, isn't the first time we've been named the best place to live in Canada. Burlington is a community like no other. In good times and bad, we rally together to make sure that no one, and I say no one, is left behind, Speaker. Throughout this trying time, it has been inspiring to see the thoughtfulness, generosity, and kindness of people in my community. And I'm proud of the many local organizations, Speaker, that have stepped up to lend a hand, including the Burlington Food Bank, the Compassion Society, Food for Life, Burlington Salvation Army, Wellington Square, United Church, Burlington Together, and the Burlington Dads Group. Whether you prefer Ontario as a place to grow or yours to discover, in these difficult times, people right across the province are finding new and innovative ways of coming together to support those in need. I read a news story recently about a shopping centre reopening in Europe that was using the slogan, "Open as unusual." This slogan certainly captures the new reality people are experiencing around the world as restrictions are lifted. We all experienced this new normal when the Phase 1 reopened, which began on May 19th. It was even more apparent on June 12th when parts of the province entered into Stage 2. And it continued this past Friday when Burlington, Halton Region, Hamilton, Niagara, and other regions followed suit, Speaker. It is thanks to the collective efforts of all Ontarians that we're making progress on the slow and steady road to safely and carefully reduce the restrictions in place and reopening Ontario's economy. On April 9th, my daughter Courtney had her first baby, and there were lots of tears as she wanted her mom to be with their first baby. Though I felt sad for my daughter, and there were many tears, I must say that, for missing that milestone. As we sat there on the phone, we realized that there are others who have faced their last days without any family members by their side. That's why we must stay the course, because we Ontarians are doing what we're doing to stop the spread of COVID-19 is working, and it's guided this province state of emergency and the various emergency orders. Central to these decisions is the advice of Ontario's Chief Medical Officer of Health and Ontario's framework documented for reopening our province, which serves as a roadmap to a measured reopening of our economy, Speaker. As we move through the 3 phases, plan to reopen our economy, there is a significant body of work being done by the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health has released guidelines, documents to help business owners develop their reopening plans, and a focus on protecting their workers, customers, and the general public. I'm also proud to work with an incredible team at the Ministry of Labour, Training and Skill Development, alongside our Health and Safety Association partners. Together, we've released over 80 sector-specific health and safety guidelines, including guidelines for curbside pickup and deliveries. In my riding of Burlington, I'm holding several roundtables every week, just like the rest of every member that is in here. We certainly appreciate having the Minister of Heritage, Sport, Tourism and Culture Industries on a Zoom meeting with us yesterday. I just want to say, Speaker, in ending, that this has been very trying times, And it's, you know, people are very stressed and emotional about everything that's going on, but we all rally together. We all work extremely hard to make this province the best province that it is, and I'm proud to stand in this legislature and thank everybody for all of the hard work they've been doing in our province of Ontario.